Hello everyone and welcome back to Sudden Wealth. I hope you guys are doing very well. If you do enjoy the content, please consider dropping that like and subscribe. Please give a little bit of hand here with the algo, as most likely this video will not be spread too far off from my subscriber base, but the video that I made yesterday, it was pretty much 98% to my current subscribers and only 2% for non-subscribers. Which was what I was expecting to happen, taking into account the topics that I discussed. But I do believe it's important to discuss them. And I'm willing to take that. I mean, I don't mind that I got, 300, 500 less views that I should have. That's all fine by me. But sometimes, I also use the YouTube channel to kind of vent a little bit what I have on my mind. So I don't mind having it. Now, if you look at the recent polls, and the polls tend to understate Trump's performance, he's doing very well across all the swing states. However, we are already starting to see some issues in Pennsylvania. It's all over Twitter, which is it's really great that Elon Musk bought X at the time, because otherwise we wouldn't have access to any of this, as you can imagine. But nowadays you've had already the first weird things happening. Let's put it that way. Let's be friendly. And this is something that I think, I hope that the Trump camp is, expecting. As I've said, look, just give you the example of a country in Europe. It's all, you vote in one day. It's all paper ballots. You get there, you get there, you have a little piece of paper, right, with the name of the candidates. You first, before you get in, you show your voter ID. They check, yeah, you are a citizen of this country, and it's a very easy process. You can vote. Go over there. You are eligible to vote, right? Go over there and vote. You go there, you vote. You put it on a little thing. The person that is checking if you can vote never touches anything that you do, and that's it. Very cheap, very simple, very straightforward. Now, somebody in the comment section explain to me why you have different rules. I mean, I think the best way you could have voting would be actually quite simple. You just put all the eligible voters on blockchain, and then you can see, and then they would cast their vote on the blockchain, and it would be immediately checkable, immediately identifiable, and you don't need people counting paper stuff by hand. But I do understand it's a new technology. Most likely people will be afraid of it. So just okay, you have a piece of paper, you have the two candidates plus the independents like Jill Stein, etc. Right? You go there, you sign, you get out. That's it. It's really that simple. I mean, I'm not sure if I believe that this race is this tight. The poly market, when there's money behind it, I tend to give it a bit more validity than when it's not. I really think it's mostly due to constant, non-stop propaganda. I mean, here you have a situation with, you have two candidates with track records, right? You just compare the track record of one to the other. It's really that simple. I mean, he even managed to get Elon Musk to get Tulsi Gabbard, which was a Democrat, and Kennedy, who was part of the, dynasty of the Democratic Party. I mean, that should tell you all you need to know. And I mean, indeed, this, I saw a post on X, and I think this is very true. It was something to this nature. Trading Biden for Harris is like shitting your pants and changing your shirt. It accomplishes nothing to your problem. See what I mean? At least this is my view. Once again, I am more interested not so much on the economic side, because I don't live in the US. It's mostly in terms of international security and the crypto investment that is the most important for me. But obviously, you also want the US, to do well. And I think Tuesday will be a day filled with emotions. I'm not going to see the election. Sorry, but I need to work on Wednesday, and there's nothing I can do to to change the outcome. I think there's a very good chance for him to win. Will he win? I mean, who knows, right? I mean, as I mentioned, in this particular election, I hope so. As you guys know, I'm not necessarily a Trump fan. I mean, between him and her, to me, it's obvious. But for example, if it would be between him and Robert Kennedy, I would be a bit more, I don't know. If it would be between him and Tulsi Gabbard, I would probably also, wouldn't mind either of them. My kind of guy in the Republican Party is more like a guy like Vivek. That's my type of candidate if I had to pick. But it is what it is. I think the crypto community will surprise a lot of people because we are very quiet. We're not gonna go to the polls. We're not gonna, we're not gonna we're not gonna advertise our position in these things. But it's very clear the DOJ is now already prepared to sell a lot of crypto. So old notions that people may had that somehow Kamala was also for crypto, you can put it out of your mind. Crypto gives you freedom. And if you have noticed anything about this party over the past 4 years in particular, is that freedom is the most hated word that they have. They've already showed their intention of amending the First Amendment, of making social media platforms accountable for what they say. Now there are people going after Elon Musk. Maybe it's illegal, it cannot be in the US. I mean, it's one after the other, unfortunately. But, as I've said, what matters for risk assets the most is liquidity. Amidst all of this, the Nasdaq just hit a new all-time high. Bonds were selling off very aggressively in the beginning of the session. I didn't like it, but they recovered in this V-shape kind of bottom recovery, which is great. You need the bonds to play along. Once again, we were going down like a 1% or something. That's too much for bonds. We can go down 0.2, 0.3, but we cannot go down 1% a day. That's far too much. So the stock market is doing quite well. Russell, once again, Russell is underperforming. Why? Because the bonds are bad, which means yields are up. And as I've covered here extensively, the Russell 2000 are the shitcoins of the stock market, and they will check and they will trace whatever it's happening within the bond market the most. By the way, a little bit of something that I forgot to say about the election stuff. Yesterday, you couldn't find Joe Rogan interview with Trump, despite the video having like almost 40 million views in 3 days, which completely broke the internet, right? You couldn't find it. You would type it, all sorts of videos would come out. The only way you would see it would be to go to Joe Rogan's channel and then look for the video. But basically in the search engine was not popping up. And, also there was a certain company, you can figure out who it was, that gave 1.4 billion euros, 1.4 billion dollars to the Dems campaign. So I'll let you guess which company that is. But just a little side note. Crypto gold. I need to go to gold because gold made a new all-time high. Peter Schiff was all very offended that people in the mainstream media is not giving coverage to gold as much as, for example, Bitcoin. And there's a reason for it. First of all, the Bitcoin ETFs did more volume and had more inflows in 10 months than 5 years of the gold ETFs. That's number one. Number two, if you look at gold versus 2011, which was the old all-time high, gold is up not even 50%. And that is not inflation adjusted. That is not CPI, or as I like it, CPI adjusted. That's just outright versus the dollar, like nominal. Yeah? But that doesn't even count all the money supply increase. Because if you count for all the money that they printed, gold would need to go to like $6,000 to break even from 2011. That's a 50% rise. MicroStrategy is up almost 600% in 1 year. You see, this is why you don't pay attention. It's like you have a candle company right? That is doing this candle company just made a new all-time high. But everyone is paying attention to this new electricity company. I don't get it. Oh, this horse company is doing very well, but everybody is paying attention to this car company. I don't get it. Yeah, because everyone is now starting to understand that this is the next big thing. Now, for the crypto retards like myself, we knew it for a long time, but the world is starting to get it. And liquidity is starting to ramp up really a lot, which means crypto will pump the hardest. Now, if she wins, which is a possibility, I'm not so convinced as other people. I think he's going to win, but I'm not that, oh my God, it's won, it's in the bag, let's go home, this Ronald Reagan style of election. No, I don't believe that, particularly because of what I'm already seeing in Pennsylvania. And if she wins, I think we're going to have a big sell-off for maybe a couple of days until the liquidity starts to feed into the system again. And then we just move forward. Will we have the type of crazy returns that we would with Trump? No. But we would do very well because they will still debase the currency. They will still take value out of the currency, which means anything priced in the currency goes up. That's it. It's really that simple. Now, Bitcoin, I think it was 1.6% away from a new all-time high. I've seen some people saying new all-time high. I guess it depends always a little bit of which exchange are you looking at. Ethereum is still about 50-60% down versus its old all-time high. I remain convinced that Ethereum will play catch-up in like 20-25 days. It will catch up and be almost at a new all-time high. I'm not saying starting today. I'm not saying 20 days from today into the future. I'm saying most likely around December, January, you will see that move in Ethereum, in my humble opinion. Maybe it doesn't go anywhere. Maybe it's the XRP of this cycle. Who knows? I don't think so, but those theories are starting to come out. And if I look at the charts of Ethereum, there's a lot of resistance at around 2,730 and 2,800, 2,850 is a lot of resistance. But between that point and 4,000 something, there's literally nothing. You remember what I said? If Bitcoin goes above 70, you will see gap up quite aggressively. Why? There's very little resistance above. It's not like the 68, 69,000. That was a level very hard to break. Not this one. This one was not very hard to break at all. That's why you start to see these gap ups. And then when you really put in a new all-time high with confidence, then it's price discovery. Then we just go until we find some natural levels of resistance, potentially some Fibonacci targets, right? I think the crypto market would welcome Trump better. But I also think that the market in general, they want this election done. They want this out of the way. They want this uncertainty lift off. The thing that the markets hate the most is uncertainty. It's not necessarily the outcome. Because then the outcome, they can wrap their heads around what it means, but not the uncertainty of it. Shall I go for more US-based companies, manufacturing style? Shall I go other way? Shall I go more for Chinese? I mean, I don't know. It depends, right? So that's the point, right? So there's always some difficulty in allocating funds. Now, you will see throughout the bull market some designated FUD news to allow certain players to come in. This has happened, for example, last week. Good example. When we had that flash crash in Bitcoin, if you want to call that, with supposedly the SEC investigating Tether. And then Tether came out and said, really? That is a surprise to us, because if we would be investigated, we should know. So the article is complete fugazi. There's nothing around it. It's all designed to throw some panic into the market. For whose benefit? That's a good question. I don't know. For someone someone that wanted to accumulate at a certain level. Then another thing was, the Fed came out with a negative paper on crypto, and so did the ECB, very negative against Bitcoin. And people, oh my God, look, they are negative against Bitcoin. They are asking for higher taxes and a ban on crypto. Now, what they failed to tell you is that that was one single office of the Fed, and you had other officials saying good things about Bitcoin. And the ECB has been putting negative articles on Bitcoin since 2015. So it's not really any news. It's more of the same. However, they come at the exact time to allow for this sell-off to continue for a little while. This will happen again in the future. They all serve a certain purpose for this to happen. And finally, I'd like to tell you, for example, an experience with a colleague of mine at work. He's actually a very smart guy. He said, I like coin A, B, and C because there are VCs in it. I'm like, what? Yeah, I like it because it has VCs behind it. I said, but do you understand that if you're up 10x, they are up 100 to 1000x? You get it, right? You are their exit liquidity. And to him, that was a good thing. Now, this is a very smart guy with a very high degree, and he's been in crypto for a while. And he says something like this to me. He loves VCs. He knows that they dump on retail. And he knows that if he's up 10x, they are up 100x. And he says, I love it. You see, what I'm trying to say is that if you're sitting at home thinking, oh my God, I just have, a nice school diploma. I didn't do well at school. I'm not so versed into crypto. Will I do well? Will I don't do well? Bear in mind that a lot of these people, a lot of very intelligent people, make the same or worse mistakes than you make. And once again, as I've mentioned, if you check the ETF inflows for Bitcoin, the highest levels we're seeing is with Bitcoin in the high 60s and low 70s. When Bitcoin was at 50K a few weeks ago, nobody wanted to touch it. They touch it later at a higher price, just like we said in this channel. And another thing, everybody was super excited that Bitcoin went above 70K. Everyone is so, woohoo, I already saw today the predictions of Bitcoin 100K. I already saw it. In a few weeks' time, maybe in a week or two, people will be pissed off that Bitcoin has crashed into 72,000. Mark my words on that. We'll see if I'm right. Oh, by the way, the guy from Crypto Banter, Ray Nuna or whatever, he's already back to buying Ethereum. The guy who sold the bottom and is now back Ethereum. Ethereum is now great, blah, blah, because he knows, he can tell, and I'm sure he has contacts, that Ethereum will have this gap up that I've talked about. And he wants to come out and say, hey, I told you Ethereum was at the bottom. Nobody wants it, so I love it. Blah, blah, blah. This is the same guy that said he had an abusive, that what he said it was, he finished his abusive, toxic relationship with Ethereum. Once again, he incentivized all his followers to go from Ethereum to Sui, right? And so, basically to Sui. All of a sudden, Sui has a big sell-off as the vesting schedule starts to unlock some tokens all of a sudden, and now he's back full-fledged into Ethereum when a month ago he was against Ethereum and he spent the entire prior months trashing Ethereum all day long. He will gloat and bloat saying that, oh my God, my Ethereum trade was so good, look at what I've done. Ethereum is so great, blah, blah, and they will forget everything that he's ever said. But this is the world of YouTube. I called that he was going to do this months ago because it's so obvious. The way that these people think and operate is so obvious. That is crazy. But with that, guys, thank you very much for your support. I'll probably not record tomorrow unless something very special happens. You guys know the drill. I've been making these videos for a long time, been calling all of it almost to perfection, and we're gonna see exactly. I think we're gonna see exactly what I'm expecting. And with that, thank you very much for your support. I think the crypto community will play a bigger role in the election that people give credit for, because we don't answer to polls. We go straight to the meat, no nonsense, vote, and let's go. And with that, thank you very much for your support, and I'll catch you in the next one.